not reacting to events, but to judgments about them. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius, a renowned Stoic philosopher, posited that if something external causes distress, it is not the thing itself that troubles us but our judgment about it, a judgment we have the power to eliminate. The first principle of practical Stoicism follows this notion: we do not react to events but to our judgments regarding those events. In other words, our pleasures, sorrows, desires, and fears involve not just an event and a reaction but three stages: an event, a judgment or opinion about it, and only then a reaction. Our task is to recognize this intermediate step, understand its common irrationality, and control it through reason before reacting. Our reactions to occurrences usually seem direct and spontaneous, seemingly not involving any judgment, or at least not the kind that might exist under other circumstances. Stoics debunk this as a fallacy, an illusion. Dispelling this notion is challenging because the mind is not a reliable narrator regarding the origins of our reactions. It convinces us we're reacting to external elements rather than to the workings of the mind itself. In Stoicism, we strive to learn to think more correctly about our thoughts, teaching the mind to understand itself, making the fish more aware of the water. Consider someone insulting you. The insult holds no meaning beyond what you assign to it. If you're bothered, it's because you care, meaning you've made a judgment. Alternatively, you could decide simply not to care, and there, the insult ends for you. This Stoic approach to perception and reaction empowers us to manage our responses to the world around us, teaching us to exert control over our judgments and, consequently, our emotions and actions. Reactions depend on judgments. Every inconvenience we encounter in life can be viewed through the same lens, whether it's a noisy neighbor, adverse weather, or traffic congestion. If you feel irritated by these things, it's because you're upset with the judgments you've made about them, that they're bad, significant, or it's expected for someone to be upset by them. In reality, the events themselves don't force you to think any of this, only you have the power to do so. This applies to larger setbacks, desires, fears, and all other mental events. We often feel like we're reacting to things in the world, but in truth, we're reacting to things within ourselves. In most cases, changing ourselves is more effective and sensible than trying to change the world. The idea that our reactions depend on our judgments might seem odd, especially if all judgments are imagined as conscious and rational. But a judgment can take form unconsciously. For example, if you conclude that spiders are not dangerous yet still fear them, it shows that your fear is independent of any opinion you might have about spiders. This simply means you hold conflicting judgments, that spiders do and do not pose a danger. The Stoics sometimes included under the lens of judgments everything we bring into the world at birth, from the absence or presence of appetite that makes a dish of food seem more or less appealing, to a lifetime of conditioning producing a similar effect more broadly. They did not distinguish their thinking, as we might now, between all the forms that our judgments can take: conscious opinions, unconscious biases, conditioned responses, chemical exposures, genetic tendencies, and so on. And while some of these factors may be more easily altered than others, the Stoics did recognize some obstacles. They stated that some reactions have a basis in nature that we cannot control. Seneca, another Stoic philosopher, admitted that we are born with certain temperament traits that cannot be changed. However, the Stoic goal is to become aware of our judgments and capable of controlling them as much as possible. The Stoics believed that our ability to modify our experiences through changing our thoughts about them is much greater than we might assume. The discomforts we experience in life, as portrayed by Stoic philosophy, are not caused by external events themselves but by our judgments about these events. Stoics often use simple examples, like insults, to demonstrate that such occurrences only gain significance through the weight we assign to them, suggesting that reactions we perceive as inevitable are actually within our control. Stoics utilize comparisons to validate their arguments, observing how different people react differently to the same events under various circumstances. This variability highlights that fears, sacrifices, and even discomforts like sadness or anguish are experienced differently by each person. Take Paolo Musi, for instance, who lives a lifestyle that many would find unbearable. For him, discomfort has become the norm, a stark contrast to someone new to such a routine. This principle underscores that our reactions, whether to minor annoyances or major setbacks, are not inevitable but are shaped by our own judgments. Hence, we have the power to change these reactions by altering our judgments. Cicero, elaborating on this concept, explains that our emotional states, sorrow, joy, fear, lust, are based on opinions about present or future events. These emotions are responses to our judgments about what we perceive as good or bad, highlighting that the essence of many of our experiences boils down to opinion. Thus, the Stoic philosophy teaches that we should not blame others or external circumstances for our reactions but look to our own opinions. This perspective is encapsulated in the Stoic view of death. It is not death that is terrifying, but the opinion that it is terrifying. This realization brings to light the significant control we have over our reactions, through the judgments we form. In conclusion, Stoics argue that by becoming aware of and adjusting our judgments, we can significantly alter our reactions to life's events. This capacity to modify our opinions offers a profound avenue for transforming our experience of the world, underscoring the powerful role of judgment and opinion in shaping our lives. Stoic practices, choosing our thoughts. Stoicism transcends mere theoretical understanding, advocating for actionable steps towards taking greater responsibility for our thoughts and seeing our internal dialogue as a matter of choice. If anguish stems from our thoughts about things rather than the things themselves, then we must strive to let go of these thoughts in favor of new ones. This principle may sound overly simplistic or easier said than done, but it's crucial because treating thoughts and judgments as choices is fundamental to Stoic practice. Yet, it's a step many seldom or never take. Typically, people validate anything that crosses their mind, but Stoics endeavor to detach enough from mental events to control them, identifying and replacing irrational self-dialogue with wisdom. Contrasting thoughts with simpler ones, or stopping one thought and starting another, offers a less verbal but effective approach to adjusting judgments. This practice, although straightforward, can significantly improve with time and dedication, enhancing our ability to replace harmful conventional thoughts with healthier Stoic satisfaction. We can choose to have no opinion on certain matters, thereby not being disturbed by them, as external entities lack inherent power over our judgments, a concept underscored by Marcus Aurelius. Elevating our lives above mundane occurrences and remembering the transient nature of human life, whether fortunate or not, is essential. The Stoic goal isn't to empty the mind but to purge it of foolishness and judgment errors, fostering a life of active engagement rather than withdrawal. This is evidenced by the lives of the Stoics themselves, who were among the most influential individuals of their era, advocating for an active and engaged existence. Stoic comparisons, shaping our reactions. Stoicism teaches us that our reactions to life's occurrences are not direct responses to the events themselves but are shaped by the subtle thoughts and judgments we form about them. Seneca prompts us to look inward more attentively, noting how minor annoyances can cause disproportionate irritation not because the suffering is unbearable, but because we allow ourselves to be weakened by our perceptions. The Stoics offer comparisons to illustrate this point. They note that we may feel more disturbed by a surgical incision than by numerous battle wounds due to our perception of the situation. This sensitivity to discomfort is not inherent but is influenced by our judgments about the events. By considering the reactions of others, those who respond more intensely or more mildly to the same situations, we can see that what might be perceived as a weakness or a norm is actually a matter of personal judgment. Stoics are often depicted as dismissing pain and external trials, using disdain or scorn not in a negative sense but to suggest seeing these discomforts as too insignificant to warrant a strong reaction. Historical examples, such as the endurance of Spartan children or athletes in Olympia, serve as reminders that if others can tolerate severe pain in silence for glory, shame, or fear, then perhaps our own reactions to discomfort are more within our control than we might think. Cicero challenges us to reconsider what we deem intolerable by highlighting the wide range of human tolerance under various circumstances. This Stoic lesson urges us to break free from the enchantment of familiarity with discomfort and pain by observing the diversity of human reactions to similar conditions. Such awareness can transform our understanding of what is natural, inevitable, or a matter of choice, inviting a more Stoic approach to facing life's challenges. If these teachings have offered some insight, subscribe for more content on applying ancient wisdom to modern times. Thank you, and see you in the next video.